Hello, my name's Stephen Carr and I'd like to welcome you to another AutoCAD cooking class. In this session we're going to look at our lighting and adding materials. So let's, just looking at our model here, which we've downloaded from Share Out, we will let's put it in perspective view, and also we should change this to conceptual, or not conceptual, realistic. And first thing we want to do is turn on our sun, or if we're in the home ribbon we need to go to the render ribbon. So we'll turn on our sun, and with our sun on we should be able to render it quickly. So that's pretty much what we expect. There's no materials, so the sun is just shining over here and this is all in shadow. So that's cool, that's good. So let's just change our sky to have sky with background and illumination. And again, we should be able to render this. And again, we can still see that everything's in shadow, but we can still see everything now. But again, the lighting is not the best because we've still got no materials here. We just got global materials. So I'm just going to zoom in here so we can get the image so that we're a nicer image to work with. We'll just see what this looks like under render. Of course, it takes longer to render every time we add a step into the process. It just increases our time. So this is good. I'm still going to try and get in a little bit closer. And then I'll render that. So it's a little better. We get to see a little bit more of the chair. Maybe I'm just going to orbit a little bit here just to set up a view. So just click on my orbit here and orbit this around a little bit. Maybe pan it down a little bit. Just again, render this just to see what we have. So this is good. I think what I want to do with this is I'm just going to save this view here in case we change it. So if we want to save the view, we know that we should be able to go into our custom views, click on the view manager, and we'll click on new. And with the new, we'll just call this render. Just call it render 1. And we'll turn off our snapshot view thing and say OK, and we should be able to set current, apply, OK. So now if we go out of this, we can come back to it without any trouble. So we should look at doing our materials now. To do our materials, we know we click on our material browser and everything is set to a global material. This is the AutoCAD library here, so we click on the AutoCAD library here. From this library we see that we have categories. So I'm going to click on my flooring, and we've got lots of different flooring types. So I'm going to look for, I have a beechwood honey, I think, somewhere in here. There we are. This is our beechwood honey. So when I click on this, that material goes up to the top, go down to metal, and I know I'm going to look for a chrome satin. So I'll just add that chrome satin. That's really good. So looks like I've got it twice. I can actually delete this if I want. Also, if we want to, we can search for materials. Say I want to do clear glass. So we've got some different clear glasses here, so I'll click on this one. And now you'll see the materials are just what we've selected from the search. So that's fine. I'll just click on white for a search. And I'm going to look for we should have a there's a cool white. Let's just put that in there. We can also click on to sand. I'll just search sand. And I'm looking for just that sand there will be great. And I also have another one that I know I'm going to look for called pebble. And we're looking for light brown, pebble light brown. So we've just put a few materials here. Now to go back to the materials that have been loaded, we just close the search, and here's all our materials that we have in here. So this is really good. So if we want to, for instance, if we want to add this to the floor, we can click onto it, hold it, drag and drop it onto the floor. And you can see that it's gone onto the floor real easy. We can also look for, put this on the wall. So that should be fine. So it's a little bit hard to put on all the materials on the chair or in the windows. So what we try to do here is we can also add materials. I'll just move this out of the way. If I go into here, now I can remove materials by clicking on this, but we can also attach materials by layer. Sorry. So here we have, this is our layers, this is our materials. So we know that we have our chair legs. We want those to be chrome, so I'll just click on the chrome and click this over to my legs. And then for the chair, I'm going to make that kind of pebble light brown. And the windows, we're going to do the glass or the windows. We'll click on to the light. And for the window frames, we'll click on to here as well. And we use the same for the wall trim. So you can see they have this X. So if you click on the X, then that just removes that material. So we say OK. And we'll just try doing a render now and see what happens. Okay, pretty good, except for I think I lost my illumination. So it's good to check that you still have these two here before you do the render. So this is looking pretty good. The one other thing I'd like to say is I've got quite a bit of reflection here on the floor. So that's way too much reflection. We'll just let this thing go through here. Okay, this is finished rendering now, and you can see that we have way too much reflection on the floor. So what I'm going to do is just bring back my materials. And if I click on my floor material, if I double click, it puts me in the editor. And in the editor we have, we can make it satin if we want, to finish, we can go to unfinished, and then when we're happy with that, I'll just pull this out of the way, and I'll do my render again. Again, I'm going to pause it just to let it finish, and then we'll have a look at what we have. Okay, so my drawing's finished rendering. Now you can see the floor. If I click on the other one, you can see the difference. So the only thing that we really need to do now is we've saved this as 640 by 480. If I wanted to save this one, I can right click on it and I can save it. And then of course I can just call this my room render. And save it, and of course I can use it. So I'm saving it as a JPEG. I can also save it as any of these formats. So JPEG is good for us, so I'll just save that. And I'll just do the quality there. So this is fine. The only problem we have though is that when we look at this, if we wanted to, we could adjust our exposure a little bit. Again, this is set to 1, so if I set that to 1.5, then when I render it again, and again I'm going to just pause it. So if we look at it, we can see a little bit of difference here. I think it helped the image a little bit. So the whole idea here was mostly to remind you that if you are working with your render, you could adjust the exposure if you still don't have enough light here. Another thing that's very important is that when we're practicing here, or when we're trying to get everything the way we want it, we need to set it at 640 by 480. When we want to do our final, we should probably bump it up to 8 by 6 or 1024 by 768. Whatever, again, it's just going to take longer, so this is why we try to do it here. We can also adjust this by from our medium. Not sure why I can't see all these others, but there are other settings that we can set it to, medium and higher and better. So it's just a question, I think, what happens if I pull out of there? Does that help? No, still not showing it. Not sure what's going on here. But again, you can change your render quality to maybe 3 or 4 if you like. So this should get you your render the way you want it, and hopefully this will help you with your stuff. So I'm going to thank you, and we'll see you next time.